Hello everyone. Welcome to ManageEngine Firewall Analyzer Free Training Part 2. Alright, so let me introduce myself. I'm Shweta Suresh, your presenter for this session and a subject matter expert in enterprise security management. Along with me, there's an amazing set of tech team to answer your questions in the Q&A section throughout this webinar. Before we get into the details, let me give you a quick overview of today's agenda. We are going to start by addressing an important question. Why is firewall monitoring important and why should you choose Firewall Analyzer? We'll then move on to cover the basics of Firewall Analyzer, including how to fetch firewall logs, and then we'll take a closer look at different types of reports like the VPN reports, custom reports, and then we'll wrap up by exploring the alarm notification features and how to configure alarms for various triggers, followed by a summary. So now, why log monitoring? The landscape of network security is constantly evolving, and the security teams are working tirelessly to keep up. Whether it is installing IDS, IPS, proxies, or VPNs alongside firewalls, new security tools are being added all the time. Yet, cybercriminals are adapting and finding new ways to breach networks. This brings us to a critical realization that simply adding more tools is not enough to safeguard a network from threats. So what we really need is a tool that monitors our security devices, identifies internal and external threats, and does all of this in real time. That's where Firewall Analyzer steps in. It's a comprehensive log, policy, and configuration monitoring tool that has a major focus on log analysis. It offers a wide range of features, from generating detailed log reports that track security and traffic logs. It provides real-time alarm notifications. So in today's session, we'll discuss in detail about log analysis, alarm management, and inventory reports. So last week, we explored rule management, configuration monitoring, backups, and compliance management in detail. If you have missed that session, do not worry, we'll send you a link to the recording post this session so you can catch up. Now, let's look at how to fetch firewall logs into Firewall Analyzer. The first step is installing the software. You can find the installation requirements on our website, or if you prefer, let us know in the chat and we'll send them directly to you. Once installed, you'll need to configure your firewall to send syslogs to the default UDP port 1514. If this particular port is not available, you can use an alternative free port. There are three methods to send ports. One is sending them to the default 1514 port, importing the log files, or manually adding the device without syslogs. These steps were covered in the last week's session, and you can revisit them through the recording that will be sent to you post this session, or you can always check this out in our online demo tool. So once the syslogs are received, Firewall Analyzer begins generating various reports, security reports, VPN reports, bandwidth reports, based on the data. Additionally, you can also set up alarm notification to alert you to any unusual network activity. So now, out-of-the-box reports include VPN reports, which assist in VPN bandwidth planning and monitoring active sessions. Firewall reports, which combine security and traffic data. This provides insight into firewall performance. Then the dashboard and inventory reports. It gives you a high-level overview of all connected firewall devices. While proxy reports cover the quick proxy service, you can also create custom reports to suit your specific needs, or scheduled reports that can be directly mailed to you. So we also have search report, which helps in forensic analysis for aggregated and raw searches. So I'll cover each of these in detail. So especially since the pandemic began in 2020, the shift to hybrid work environment has posed new challenges, particularly in managing VPN security and bandwidth. Throughout today's session, we'll address these challenges wherever applicable, focusing on VPN infrastructure, security, and bandwidth management. To make things more relatable, let's take real-life scenarios, for example. For those who have attended our Part 1 training, I hope you all remember Jim. For those who are new here, let me reintroduce Jim. He's an imaginary security admin at a company that recently adopted a hybrid work model. Jim's company is facing several network security challenges, and we'll explore how Firewall Analyzer helps him tackle these issues, especially related to security and bandwidth in their VPN setup. For many organizations, VPNs are essential for enabling remote work. However, without proper monitoring, VPN connections can introduce security vulnerabilities. So this is where Firewall Analyzer comes in, because it generates comprehensive VPN reports helping admins to track VPN traffic, monitor active sessions, identify trends in VPN consumption. So let me take you to the product UI to show this in working. So here we go to reports, and under reports, we will choose VPN reports. So we'll be able to select a particular firewall. For this demonstration, I'm going to choose all devices, and I'm setting a time frame for 30 days. So this report includes a lot of sub-reports like the VPN overview report, VPN sessions report, and top users report. So let me explain each of these with the use case. So going back to the presentation. So in this first task, Jim has been tasked with identifying which users are currently logged into the VPN. For this, he needs to perform an analysis of all users who are currently logged into the VPN. This is especially useful to check if the employees are logged into secure connections and to monitor their activity status. So to do this in Firewall, we go to VPN reports. We are under VPN reports, and here we are going to choose active VPN users. So here you will see all currently active users along with the details like the assigned IP, addresses, start times, and the firewall device through which the VPN was accessed. Jim can also schedule these reports to be sent to his upper management or colleague by selecting the schedule icon. So for this, we'll create a report profile. So once you give a profile name, say for example, I'll give it as test, and then select the device list or the custom widget list when you select next. So here we'll select if Jim wants it to be a PDF, and when it has to be created, and for how, if it is a recurring report, then for what is the frequency that it has to be sent. And once we click next, and here I'm enabling the mail notification, and I can select as many mail IDs that I have to add to be sent this report with. And also the subject name can be customized. And if you need a note, please include a note and then select on save. So once this is selected, the scheduled report will be shown, and it will be sent in the designated intervals. So now going back to VPN reports and the VPN active session, here if you need any data for a single instance, you can export it by clicking the respective format icon. So you can choose either to be sent or through a PDF, CSV file, or an Excel file. So this concludes Jim's first task. So let's see what his next task is. Jim has been assigned a second task, which is to submit a detailed VPN activity report on all users. This includes both the active and the passive sessions. The management also wants this to be sent to them weekly. So let's see how Jim can achieve this using Firewall Analyzer. Now again, going back to the product. So we are going to go under VPN sessions report. So what you see here is slightly different from the active VPN users option. In active VPN users, we can only see the users who are currently active. But in this VPN sessions report, we can see all the users who have connected and disconnected in the past as well. The green indication denotes that this particular user is currently connected, and the gray indication denotes that the user is inactive, meaning that they have ended their session. So if Jim wants to have this scheduled weekly or sent to anyone as a single mail, so he can simply select from the respective options here. So all he has to do is choose a relevant option and schedule it weekly. And this is how Jim will complete his second task. And now going back to the presentation, now that we saw majority of the employees are joining using the VPN network, it becomes extremely important to plan and allocate the bandwidth consumption. So if a single employee consumes all the bandwidth, this would slow down the network for every other employee who's connected and working. Hence, as a third task, Jim has been asked to identify which employee accesses the VPN the most and also find the usage trend. This means the organization wants more details on the VPN user activity and connection trends, and they want this to be scheduled on a daily basis. So let's look at how Jim does this using Firewall Analyzer. So to view this information, again in the UI, so under VPN reports, we'll go to the top users list. So here you get the list of all the users, how many times they have connected, how much data they have consumed, and the duration in which this particular data was consumed. With this, Jim gets a clear understanding of the top users, how many times they have connected, and Jim can also use different visualizations for easier understanding of the data. Now, if Jim wants to have this as a report, he simply has to click on the email option and it will be sent to his inbox. If he clicks on one of the formats to download, either as a PDF or a CSV file, it will be sent to his downloads folder. With that, Jim is successful again in his task. Moving on to the next use case. Jim's fourth task is to identify the active VPN connection count for a specific firewall. But why is this task important? Because most devices offer a limited number of VPN connections, and the cost of operation goes higher as the number of connections increases. Hence, it is extremely critical for an organization to plan their VPN connection capacity. So before purchasing more can result in excess IT spend, and if the organization is going to purchase less, then it can result in performance or productivity issues. Hence, Jim needs to monitor the connections for a specific firewall. So let's see how Jim does this using Firewall Analyzer. So again, taking you back to the UI. So under VPN report, we go to VPN overview. Here you'll get data for all your devices. In this case, we just have one device connected. So let's take, for example, you plan 4 connections maximum, but the active sessions here are 8, then this becomes a huge problem because more people are active than the planned capacity. With this report, Jim can clearly understand how many connections his company needs to have to ensure a seamless VPN experience. So now going back to the presentation, the next task for Jim is to identify the failed VPN login attempts. In this Jim's company, many employees are complaining that they couldn't log in because of some issue. Jim has been asked to reach out proactively and fix the failed logins to improve productivity. Since people are working from home, there's a risk that Wi-Fi's could be taken advantage of or that someone could use VPN as a loophole to enter the network. With this information, Jim can see how many times people have tried to log in. If there are any extreme anomalies, he can contact them and ensure that it is fixed. So now let's see this in the working. So to access these reports, we go to VPN reports, and under VPN reports, we do have a sub VPN report option. So here you can see all the data for all the devices. And here you can see the user, Mari and Rahul, have 39 attempts. So Jim can contact them and help them with the issue and make sure it is sorted for other users too. So they have 39 failed VPN users. He can also investigate if there are any security concerns and rectify the same to safeguard his organization's network. And this concludes Jim's fifth task. So let's take a look at his next task. From the previous cases, we came to understand that many employees are accessing the company's network through VPN. So this time, he has been tasked with a daily, weekly, and monthly trend report on active connections because it's important for the company to identify the busiest hours and the leanest hours to plan their VPN infrastructure accordingly. Let's see how Jim gets these trend reports using Firewall Analyzer. Going back to the UI, so we go to VPN trend reports under VPN report. So here you can get the data for the last 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days, and a year of VPN trend. With this, you can clearly identify VPN request trends. For example, in the 24-hour VPN trend, we can see a spike at 5 p.m. This number gradually goes down. By understanding these trends on a monthly basis, you can plan the capacity accordingly. So that no one is forced out of the VPN network. With that, Jim's task and VPN reports come to an end. So now, going to the next slide on my presentation. We have the firewall reports. Firewall reports can be classified into two parts, security analytics and traffic analytics. At first, we'll be covering the security analytics in detail. So let's discuss why security analytics is important in this era of hybrid work and work from anywhere culture. So far, employees have relied on office networks, security devices, and strict adherence to security policies for protection. Even when attackers attempted to breach the network, a combination of proactive policies and security postures have come to the swift remediation by the IT admins. However, with the rise of remote work, this protection has weakened. So hackers have adapted quickly, targeting remote employees as vulnerable entry points to gain access to critical enterprise data. Therefore, it is crucial to monitor security logs for any anomalies continuously or any disturbances that is happening frequently. So Firewall Analyzer offers comprehensive security reports, including attack and virus reports, insight into top security events, and detection of irregularities. It also highlights the top spam generators and tracks failed login attempts for easy review. So let's explore how this appears in the UI. So I guide you back to the product, and here we navigate to reports, and under reports we select firewall reports. Now let's pull data for all the devices, and I'm setting the time frame for the last 30 days. As mentioned earlier, firewall reports include both traffic and security reports. Scrolling down, you will find the security reports here. Along with, we also have the virus report, attack reports, spam reports, and even trends reports. So these reports will help you understand what security issues are happening, which destination or host is affected, or if a specific IP or protocol is used for an attack. All this information is available in the security reports. Now let me take you back to the deck. And to show you a use case, Jim's company has seen an increase in attacks, especially since employees are no longer working only from the office. This has raised the company's network security risk. Jim's company needs to know which protocol hackers are using to get in. They want him to create a list of these attacks so that they can take steps to prevent them. So let's look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. So for this, we are going to go to Firewall Reports and select Attack Reports. Let's give it a minute to load. Jim's company wants to know which type of attack is happening and what type of protocol is being used to mount this attack. So here you have the data. You scroll down and you will see the top attacks by list, and you'll also see the top protocols used for attacks. So here you will get a clear understanding of what are the protocols that is being used the most to mount an attack. So here you can see that the FTP protocol has been used by the attackers for like 697 attempts to get into the network. So to get more information, you just have to simply click on it and you will be taken to a detailed window where all the data related to this particular attack is drilled down and is available for you. With this data, Jim and you can clearly understand what protocols are being used by hackers or attackers to mount attacks. This will be beneficial for carrying out countermeasures in the future. So this is a use case for security reports. Now let's discuss traffic analytics. Excuse me. So this is the second part of our firewall reports. This section provides detailed traffic usage reports for various protocols, applications, cloud services, as well as internet and intranet traffic. You can also find trend reports for different traffic and events. So let's check this out in the product UI. So when you scroll up, you will find the traffic reports. Let's click on it and it is loaded. Here you have all the traffic data, and in addition to the traffic data in the first section, you also have additional data such as protocol usage reports, web usage reports, FTP reports, telnet reports, and we also have internet and intranet reports. So if you scroll down to the top users report in traffic report, so in traffic reports, if you're going to scroll down to top users report, Jim can easily identify if there are any traffic issues or if any specific user is consuming all the bandwidth. He can also find out how much traffic is being consumed by certain users. With this, Jim can understand which user is consuming the most data. And if it is out of ordinary, then he can directly contact the user and understand why their usage has spiked during that particular period. And that's pretty much about his task in the traffic analytics section. So going back to the deck, let's take a look at the dashboard and inventory reports. So dashboard gives you a summary of everything, including an overview of the firewall traffic, security stats, and system performance. You can also find the live traffic report, and it shows the real-time data from each firewall. So additionally, we also have the VPN reports that list active VPN users and their usage details. So here we can also see information about users, firewall rules, cloud services, and an overview of all the rules along with the users and cloud services that they are accessing. So let me guide you through the product and show you how the dashboard works. So we just have to click the dashboard button in the top left corner. And in the dashboard section, we'll find an overview with two main reports. So the firewall summary report gives you a quick look at all traffic and security stats. And the system performance report will give you the statistics of CPU usage, disk space, logs per second, database connection, and thread counts. So in addition to these two overview reports, there is also a live traffic report that displays real-time traffic data from individual firewalls. So we can also find a cloud report, which shows usage stats for different cloud platforms. And we have the users report that gives you the top users list by different categories. We also have the VPN report, rule management report, security details report, standards, and we also have more reports. So now we have the custom dashboard. So let me show you how to create a custom dashboard. So for that, we'll just have to click on Add New Dashboard. And for this, let me give it this training dashboard. Click on Next. So we can choose whatever firewall widgets we wanted to choose. So I'm randomly choosing a few. And then we click on Next. So here I'm choosing an administrator. For this, I'm choosing one person. And you can also choose an operator. You can limit access to specific admins, such as one in the morning and another one for the night shift. So they won't see each other's data. So click on Create, and your dashboard will be ready just like that. So this is a custom dashboard that will be catering to your specific needs. The next one is the inventory report. This report provides information about devices, showing each firewall device configured in your system, and then all the interfaces that are connected to your configured firewall device can be seen along with the users, device, rules, and interfaces, etc. So let me show you this in the UI. So we go to Inventory Report. So here you can see the list of all the devices configured in the Firewall Analyzer, including all the interfaces that are connected to the devices, the users who have generated traffic through this, and we also have the cloud services report that has been used, and we also have the used rules report. So now let's go back to the UI deck, and we have another use case. In Jim's company, there have been several attacks going through a single firewall. Jim needs to gather all the information about these attacks originating from that firewall. So to do this, I'll take you back to the product. So for this, I'm going to use the demo version that is available online. So you can just go to your browser and type demo.fwanalyzer.com, and you will be taken to this particular demo version. So for this, first I'll check the inventory report. So let's give it a minute to load. So here in the devices thing, I'm going to choose the FortiGate firewall for this. So first, you can see all the overview and summary of its performance. You will also be able to examine the bandwidth used by this firewall and identify the top 10 hosts and destinations, as well as external sites. Top 10 hosts, destination, the external sites can be seen here. We can also view the application, the rules that are being used, and we can also see the security stats of this particular firewall and the VPN details. So in this list, let's particularly look at the security section. Let me check if my demo has loaded. Yes. So under inventory devices, let's go to FortiGate. And we're going to go to security reports. So here you can find the list of the most common attacks, the hosts that have been denied, and the top denied destinations, as well as information about spam generators and denied user logons. With this information, Jim can see where an attack started, where it is happening, and which IP address is having problems. This allows him to take proactive steps to address these issues. Therefore, this completes his task. So next, we will be looking at the firewall analysis capability of monitoring the Squid proxy firewalls. So with Squid proxy servers, we can currently monitor and generate URL report, top talkers report, website details report, and proxy usage report. Now let's look at a use case for proxy reports. Suppose Jim has been asked to check if there are any proxy attacks happening in the system. If so, they want to find out the source of these attacks. So let me quickly take you to the product UI. So to access the relevant information, we'll go to reports, and under reports, we'll go click on proxy reports. After fetching the data, the Firewall Analyzer will automatically recognize the proxy server and will generate the necessary reports. So for any proxy device, you can view the URL report, proxy usage report, website details, and the top talkers report. So to help Jim with this particular task, let's check the website details. So here, if you scroll down, you will find a section called Proxy Virus Report. This report provides detailed information about all the proxy virus attacks that have occurred, including the host details, the number of attacks, and the hit percentages. Once Jim reviews this information, he can block the offending host or quarantine the specific destination to prevent future attacks. So besides the proxy report, we also have the country report. So this report shows you which countries receive the traffic this is a today's information in the past 30 days, or if you want it to be the last quarter, or you can even have custom time frame. And it will show you which firewall the traffic has passed. If you prefer, you can view this data in table format as well. So just go to type and click on table view, and you can see the table view format of this. So recently, also, we have introduced another report, that is the task audit report. So this will help to log all the task level changes, and this can be viewed based on the security admin's required time frame. So you can set a time frame here, and you can select the modules that has to be included in this particular task audit report, and you can submit and generate a report on this. So now let's also explore the custom report option in Firewall Analyzer. So if the predefined reports do not meet your needs, then you can always create your own report. So for example, let's say Jim needs to find out which users have logged in via VPN. So let me take you to the tab for this use case. So we have the custom reports. So Jim wants to find out which users have logged in through VPN, but he wants to exclude one particular C-level executive from this. We'll see how Jim can create this custom report using Firewall Analyzer. So for the same thing, we'll go to the reports and we'll select the custom report option and we'll select add. So we can give it a name like exclude report. And since I need filters, so I'm clicking on filters and I'm going to add a new filter. So the filter name would be an C-level executive filter, and it is an exclude filter. So I wanted to exclude this particular person, so I am excluding that particular person. And we can give a proper IP range or a single IP address that works. So I'm giving an example IP address. And then I'm clicking on OK. So now the filter has been created and you can see that it has been added. So if I can modify this filter if needed by using the edit option here, and you can also choose to add an include filter if that serves your report's purpose. Then we have the data points or the widgets. You can select from the existing list or you can customize it from the given options and create a completely new one by clicking on add report. So you can either customize from this or create an entirely new report. For now, I'm going to choose VPN. So I'm going to choose VPN reports. And then we are going to configure the display settings. So when do I need this? Do I only need this for this particular time? Or do I need it as a PDF? Things like that. And also create a mail notification. So for this, I'm just going to give a dummy mail. and I need this to be here. And then I'm clicking on OK. So now this custom report can be viewed here. So this was a report. Exclude report was a report that we just created. So once I've created this particular report, and this will be added to the list of custom reports available, and you can schedule it based on your time requirements. With this, Jim has also completed his next task. Next, we look at the search reports. So Firewall Analyzer has two types of search. The first is the aggregated logs, which will provide information based on specific criteria over a period of time. The second one is the raw search, which will provide forensic log analysis from multiple activities. So let's consider a use case for these reports. Suppose we have a user who is unknown, but is consuming all the bandwidth. So Jim has been asked to generate a report on exactly how much bandwidth this unknown user is consuming and other details about him. So for this, let's see how Jim is getting that report sorted. So I'm taking you to the demo version of our product. So here we'll go to the search option and aggregated search. So these are, I'm selecting all the devices for now. You can select whichever device that it is required for this particular report. And here for the protocol, I'm choosing user because I know the user is unknown. So I'm going to give the user as unknown. And then I'm clicking on generate. So give it a minute to load. So once it generates, we can find all the URL details. Yes. So we have this FortiGate device with the unknown user. And we also have the server traffic details. You can get the event summary reports, host traffic details, URL details, VPN usage report. And all of this will be available for this particular user. So with this, Jim can complete his task of identifying the information about this unknown user. So now, in addition to this, we have another use case for raw search. Let's say there have been numerous attacks on Jim's network, and with many employees working from home, the network is especially vulnerable to attacks. Jim has been tasked with identifying all the widest attacks occurring in the system. So I'll now demonstrate how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer's raw search function. So to access this, we'll have to go to search and raw search. And for this, we will have to select raw virus attack logs. So these are raw files, yes. So I just need the raw virus or attack logs. And I'm going to choose virus or attack. I'm choosing attack, so I know it isn't null. And then I'm clicking on generate. So now you can see all the formatted logs that has been taken for this particular criteria, and you can also see the raw logs. So once these issues are identified, if Jim wants to check the details, he can do it by clicking on a particular log, and he can always see the underlying data, which will be really useful if they're going to do a forensic log analysis. This is pretty much about the aggregated search and raw search. And now going back to the deck. So we have come to the final section of this particular webinar, and we will be looking at the alarm notification feature. So this is a highly beneficial feature as it helps you identify security events in real time. In Firewall Analyzer, we can configure three types of alarm profiles. The normal alert, which is a real-time alert for a specific activity, and then we have the anomaly alert, which is used when you want to notify about an event over a period of time. And finally, the threshold or bandwidth alert. This notifies you when a specific bandwidth threshold is crossed. So now we can go to the product UI and then check the alarms page. So we can see all the alarms listed here, and all of these alarms can be notified directly to you through mail, SMS, or you can run a script, however you want the notification to appear when an alarm violation happens. So in addition to all of these three things, we also have several other options such as web alarms, and the ability to integrate with other tools like ServiceNow, Service Desk Plus. This allows you to instantly raise a ticket to your agent using these tools. So now I'll show you a demo of this in the product UI. Before that, let me show you how our alarm window looks. So simply click on alarm, and here you can see all the alarms that have been triggered in the tool. You get details on the alarms based on severity. So as you can see here, the alarms are colored. Here we just have most alarms to be critical alarms, but usually when there are multiple alarms, the red one denotes critical, the orange one denotes trouble. We have an yellow alarm that denotes attention, and the purple one denotes service down. Let me check if I can show you this in the demo setup. So here I think we can see all the alarms. Yes, you can see all of these are color coded. So if you want to be notified through any specific method, then you can always add a notification profile. So to access the notification templates, we'll go to settings, and in others, we go to notification templates. And always add, if you want to add, you can see the list of all the available alarm notification. That is, we have mail, SMS chat, run a program, and several others. So if you want to explore all of these functionalities by yourself, if you want to have an hands-on on all of these functions, you can always check our demo page. So now let's look at a use case for alarm profiles. Let's say that the company following a hybrid model is experiencing a significant ARP attacks. Large number of ARP attacks are happening, and the company wants Jim to identify these attacks at the very inception. Hence, they have asked Jim to set an alarm notification when 5 ARP attacks occur within the span of 10 minutes. So let's see how Jim uses this to create the required report. So to create this, we go to alarms, and we'll see all the alarms listed here. And for the alarm profile, we'll go to settings, and in others, we'll choose alarm profile. So for this, let me take you back to another build of ours. Yes. So in this, when you go to alarm profile, you can add a new alarm profile. So first, give the name of the profile. So for this, I'm giving ARP attack. And then the profile type would be an anomaly alert. And then I'm selecting all the devices. And you can select from the predefined alert criteria, or you can also have a custom alert criteria defined. So once you select that it contains ARP, and then select your alert priority as critical. And then I'm assigning an owner. So any one of the admins can be an owner, and check for every 10 minutes. So you can check it for every 10 minutes. So in a period of 1 hour, we can set it for every 10 minutes. And then I've chosen a email alert. So once all of this has been configured and you hit on ARP alarm will be added. So now let me take you back to the deck. So now let's consider the final use case. Let's say it has been noted that a specific user has been consuming a large portion of bandwidth, and VPN bandwidth availability is constrained due to the limited resources with many employees using it. Jim has been assigned the task to trigger an alarm notification. If a user named John consumes more than 1 GB of data in 1 hour, like if he is using an application like YouTube where he binge watches movies, the company would want to restrict John's usage of YouTube. So they asked Jim to set an alarm profile to monitor this threshold and trigger an alert when it is crossed. So for the same thing, we'll go to our UI, and in the alarm profile, we'll add another alarm. So let's name it like John alarm. And again, the profile type is anomaly. Since this alert is based on a period of time, I'm selecting a predefined traffic report, and I'm going to filter it based on the user. So I'm going to give user as John and the application as YouTube. And if needed, you can create custom reports based on the source and destination country. And now that we will set the threshold to alert Jim when John exceeds 1 GB of data in 1 hour. So in 1 hour, if he is going to exceed 1 GB of data, so there'll be a critical alert. We can still assign an owner. And then once we click on save, so again, we'll click on email notification and then choose value. And then if we're going to click on save, this particular alarm will be saved. So in case if you do not want this alarm to be triggered for a certain period, like if John is away or working on a research task, then we can easily disable this particular report to avoid false positives. So you can just switch off this toggle. So that's pretty much our session about alarm management. So now let me take you back to the deck. So Firewall Analyzer is a policy configuration monitoring tool. It helps you identify policy anomalies, unused rules and objects. It also enables in-depth rule impact analysis for any proposed new rule, helping optimize firewall performance. Out-of-the-box compliance reports are also available for SANS, PCI DSS, NIST, ISO, etc. These features were covered in the previous session, and today we looked at VPN reports, security analytics, traffic analytics, and how such reports can help you perform forensic log analysis. Lastly, we explored how to create alarm profiles for various violations in your network. So next on the slide, you have the basic information on how to contact us. You can reach us through email at fwanalyzer-support@manageengine.com, or if you wish to talk to us, you can call the number shown on the screen. In addition, we have a forum where network admins discuss their issues and the technicians answer them. So this is called Pitstop, and it's available at pitstop.manageengine.com. It's common for all ManageEngine products, and under the Firewall Analyzer section, you can see all the discussions happening. So after that, we have an exhaustive help documentation on our website. If there's a feature you want to know more about or want to understand in depth, you can look us up at help/index.html under Firewall Analyzer. And if you still have any questions, this is a gentle reminder to type your questions in the Q&A section, and we'll have them answered right away by our panelists. We'll also be sharing this presentation and the part 1 presentation post this session, so you will have all this information in your email. Next, we are also listed on G2 and Captura platforms, so if you are an evaluator or an existing customer who tuned in to see the new features released in Firewall Analyzer, I'll request you to share your feedback about the product on both or either of these platforms. And as a token of thank you for your time and effort, we will be giving you a $25 gift card. So now if you'd like to learn more about VPN and get the best out of our VPN monitoring features, we have several free ebooks available on our website. You can download these for free from our website. And we have also developed a mobile app. This app is available on both Play Store and App Store. You can connect to your desktop setup for dashboard access to your network security overview. This means you no longer need to carry your laptop every time you leave the office. Next, we have a disclaimer regarding security. With respect to customer security and data protection, ManageEngine assures you that we take customer security and data privacy very seriously. We make sure that all customer data stays protected at all costs. So, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope this training was useful and that you learned something new.